You've only gone and downloaded a MultipleSources.net podcast. For more episodes of this show and a bunch of other content covering everything from NBA teams to professional wrestling, visit MultipleSources.net. MultipleSources.net. But wait! Act now and you too could join MultipleSources.net. Yeah, we're looking for people to do their own podcasts about different NBA teams. We're looking for blog authors, video highlight creators, basically anything you can think of to write about sports. You can kind of write or create to your heart's content. So if you want to help us and join this up-and-coming independent blog and podcast network monster, go to multiplesources.net. I'll stick something in the sidebar that says join us or something equally unfunny, so go and click on that. Join us.
Are you ready? Oh yeah.
Hello, and welcome to It's Always Sunny in Phoenix. This is a weekly podcast where three Suns fans discuss the team as well as general NBA and sports thoughts. I'm Mitch, your host, and joining me as always are Charlie and David. How's it going, guys?
Hey, what's up?
How's it going?
It's good. It's Super Bowl Sunday. The Broncos are in the Super Bowl. I'm really excited. We're recording before the Super Bowl, so I don't know what's happened yet. So that's kind of exciting.
So that way when the Panthers lose, Mitch will be happy still, but you'll know why, because he doesn't know what's coming.
Yeah.
Or Panthers win, whatever.
So, yeah. I remain in a good mood for now. It might get a lot better, and it might get a lot worse. We'll see. Just remember that we're on iTunes, too. Search us on the podcast app. It's Always Sunny in Phoenix. Just search that. No one else has the same name. And then also archive.org or SoundCloud, YouTube, or just multiplesources.net/Phoenix Suns. You can find everything there. So let's start with our recaps here. We had 3 games to recap. First being the game versus Toronto on Tuesday, February 2nd. And David, you had that one. So what do you think?
Yeah, so Toronto was our game on Monday. It was, Monday. It was right after the Hornacek firing, or was that Tuesday? Whatever. Regardless, whatever day that was. I'm starting to lose track of time now. Anyways, it was right after the Hornacek firing. So we had a good game against Toronto the last time we had played them. Eric Bledsoe had the great block against Luis Scola as the time expired, and with Hornacek gone, with Bledsoe out, Brandon Knight out, we kind of knew where this was going to be heading towards. Earl Watson, the interim coach, our new interim coach, he talked about trying to hold guys accountable and get that if they weren't playing hard, they weren't going to play. And it reflected with the guys out there on the floor. Everyone was playing hard. It was really close at times, and when it seemed, even though we were going to be able to, we were making a comeback, the Raptors were just a better team. So the Raptors were, of course, able to win. Final score was 104-97. The big takeaways from the game was something that I'm a little frustrated about is Markieff Morris's his production. He played in 41 and a half minutes. He scored 30 points on 13 of 20 shooting with 11 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks. Yeah, it's unfortunate, and it's I don't know if unfortunate's the word. It really rubs me the wrong way that this is kind of the production that he has all of a sudden now that Hornacek's gone. But it was efficient. It was a big reason why we were so close in the game. Also was Booker, who scored 27 points on 9 of 19, was 6 of 14 from the 3-point line. It was 6 of 12, but with there wasn't that much left in the game, and he was trying to get us back in. He shot 2 pretty contested threes that didn't go in. That's what made it the 14. Otherwise, it was 6 of 12 on good looks. And then Archie Goodwin scored 18 points with 12 assists, which was his first career double-double. And he was really looking to pass the ball and get his other guys involved even. And sometimes that wasn't the right play. He was definitely looking more to pass the ball than to score, and it really showed when there were some times where it looked like he was perfectly fine to the basket and then tried to do a wraparound pass or any of those kind of things. So all in all, it was the guys showed good fight and looked like they were going to be held accountable for their play for at least the time being.
Yeah, those are all good points, and I think that this was kind of what we thought was going to happen. You know, DeRozan and Lowry had good games, and the only real surprise was no Jeff Hornacek. So, one sentence recaps. Charlie, go ahead.
Okay. Markeith's big night worked well as an audition for the Raptors, who are interested in both him and PJ Tucker.
That's pretty much my recap, too. I was just going to say Markieff blossoms with Earl Watson as interim head coach, and it's perfect timing since the Raptors are now interested in trading for him.
Great minds think alike.
Exactly. So that is pretty interesting. Let's talk about that for a little bit. They are interested in PJ and Markieff. What do you think they would be willing to give up for those guys? And would you be happy with anyone on that team?
You know, I think you got to go Patrick Patterson and James Johnson. I think that's kind of one of the ones that makes the most logical sense. The contracts don't exactly match up. You have to put in a filler, whether it be like an Anthony Bennett or something. But I think if the Raptors would then probably add in a first rounder or just some sort of pick in general, I think they're either one of the first rounders is probably the most likely scenario. But I think that is the trade that makes the most sense. The Raptors don't really have to give up too much. They don't have to give up they upgrade, and we can kind of set forward for the future a little bit more. And I think that's the only real trade for Toronto that really makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And what I have been thinking about when it comes to this trade, and I don't think it'll go anywhere, but what if we were to give up our first round pick this year to maybe bring in... I don't think we could bring anyone in that they would want to get rid of, even if we threw out our first pick. So I'd shoot for Patterson. I think he's probably the nicest piece we can get from them, and probably their first rounder too.
Yeah, I agree with all that. And I told you guys this already, but a little fun fact about James Johnson. He's from Cheyenne, Wyoming. I'm from Wyoming also, and I played against his brother in high school, and I thought that was pretty cool. So I wouldn't mind having him on the team.
Did he dunk it on you?
No, actually, this was like freshman year of high school, but his brother was not huge. He was a really good player, but he wasn't huge. So let's do the results of our challenge that we started doing last week. So the questions we had, the first one, which is the one we have for every game, it's worth 2 points, is which son will have the most points. I said Devin Booker, Charlie said Archie Goodwin, David said Mirza Teletovic, and the answer was Markieff Morris with 30. And no one saw that coming, so no one got any points there. The first bonus question, and all the bonuses are worth 1 point, was who will have the most rebounds? We all said Tyson Chandler, and the answer was Biyombo, who had 12, so no points for anyone there. The second bonus question was who will have the most fouls? We all said Devin Booker because he was playing really aggressive, but the answer was Tyson Chandler, Markieff Morris, and Bismack Biyombo all tied with 5, so no points for anyone there. And then the third bonus question was which son will have the most minutes? I said Archie, Charlie said PJ, and David said PJ, and the answer was Archie with 44 minutes. So I got 1 point. So after the Toronto game, the score was me with 1, Charlie and David with 0. So pitching a shutout.
Moving and shaking already. Big moves.
You know it. Okay, how about the game versus Houston. That was Thursday the 4th. And Charlie, you had that one. So what do you think?
So this was Coach Watson's second game as the head coach. And from what we had seen, it looked like the team was going to start playing a little harder under him. So the Suns came out firing right away against the Rocket starters, which forced their coach to do the old 5 in, 5 out hockey line change swap. And their bench gave them a pretty nice boost, got them back in the game, and made up a few points. Then in the second quarter, James Harden hit our boy Devin Booker with a pretty dirty elbow to the face running down the court. And he picked up a flagrant for it. But that seemed to fire up the Rockets and not us like you'd kind of think that would. So the Rockets kind of took control of the game after that and took the lead. But something in that first half, PJ was doing a very solid job of holding down Harden. So it looked like we had a good shot of hanging in this game and possibly even getting the W. So after halftime, Trevor Ariza and Cory Booker just started killing it. They were beating us down the court for easy layups and dunks, and then they were left alone on the perimeter quite a bit and hit some open buckets from out there too. So we were down 8 heading to the 4th, and then Mirza Teletovic got real hot, dropped 10 points in a row on his own, and that brought the game within a couple of points. And we shortly took the lead after that, just by 1, I think. And then after that, our 1-2-2 zone that we have been running lately, it started to get the best of us. We were leaving perimeter shooters wide open because our zone's rotations weren't quick enough around the outside, and then we were giving up a bunch of offensive rebounds. And then when you're in a zone, it's tough to find a guy to box out because you're not matched up right next to him like you normally are on defense. So the closest guy to you might be 5 or 6 feet away and someone else might already be boxing him out. So that leaves a lot of holes. We gave up a bunch of offensive rebounds, and that really did us in the end. They sealed the game up after Beverly grabbed 2 offensive rebounds on 1 possession. So that's what did us in. Brewer and Ariza combined for 46. They both had really nice games, and Harden ended up with 17. And we were led by Archie with 22. And then Len had a big double-double with 12 points and a career-high 18 rebounds. And we ended up losing by the final score of 111 to 105.
Yeah, I want to talk about the zone for a second. I am a little confused on why exactly we're doing it. I think NBA shooters are just too good to run a zone like that. It works a little better in college because the shooters aren't as good and it's a little easier to frazzle a team that bases their offense on working inside, but NBA shooters are just way too good from the outside. So why do you think we're running that so much?
I have no idea. Maybe David knows something.
You know, we were running something a little similar. We've been running a lot of zone defense the entire season, even with Hornacek. It's not necessarily the newest thing. I think it's they basically tried to take a different iteration of the zone and try applying it to that. Our guys are not nearly disciplined enough on defense to be running a zone. We got a lot of young guys, and even our old guys aren't disciplined at all. So, you know, it beats me. It was really frustrating at the beginning of the season when we were doing okay, when we were doing decent with Bledsoe in and everything, we were still having those same issues, and we were running a little bit of a zone. And it, you know, with our best players in, we can do it. Why is it thought that we can do it with only young guys in who are still adjusting to the game and who are better one-on-one defenders in general? It's confusing, but
my only thought is maybe since this season is pretty much not over, but we don't have playoff hopes or anything, maybe we're just testing it out to see if it's something that we can do next season. I don't really know what else, though. Just experimenting, I guess.
Maybe we are preparing ourselves for a PJ Tucker trade, and we will not have any lockdown defense on the perimeter.
There we go. Yeah. That's a good point.
Normally when you get an interim head coach, even if you don't get an interim and you just do the coaching change whatsoever, you normally try and keep everything as basic as possible. This is the opposite of what's happening.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, whatever it is, it was still a close game, and that's something that I've missed. So, one sentence recaps. David, go ahead.
Turns out you have to play just as good in one half as you do the second half.
I wish that didn't have to be applied to every game we've played this season, too. So mine is going to be a little more positive. Alex Len is starting to develop into the player we were hoping he could be. I was really happy with his rebounding, and his shooting is looking better. He's able to do some pretty nice post moves. So that's a bright spot. I'm pretty happy about his development.
Yeah, those post moves, something I've noticed, he's being much more aggressive when he catches it near the bucket. And even though it doesn't always end very prettily, I guess, I'm just happy that he's taken it to the hoop.
Yeah, earlier in the season and last season and all of that, he's had a really hard time with trying to bring the ball back down when he catches it high and when going for either a rebound or any of that kind of stuff. Definitely in the Rockets game, he was showing a little bit more knowledge with keeping the ball up high and getting it back in like that and using his length to be able to keep the ball out of the hands of the other team or letting them, strip it. And that was a big problem with his turnovers earlier in the season. And it really showed that I think he's starting to figure it out, that if he just starts to, even though he's not necessarily a power guy, if he just keeps the ball up and starts getting it, he can get a lot more buckets and a lot less rebounds.
Yeah, he did get a lot better at not putting the ball on the floor, and I'm pretty happy with that. Let's do the results of our competition here. So the 2-pointer, who will have the most points on the Suns? I said Mirza, and you both said Devin Booker, but it was Archie with 22.
We were close.
Yeah. And then we had how much will the winning team win by? And we did Price is Right rules on this, so if you go over, you're automatically out. I said 10, Charlie said 7, and David said 11. The answer was Rockets by 6, so no one got any points there. And then the second bonus question was who will have the most assists? We all said Harden, but the answer was Archie with 7. Harden had 6, I believe, so it was close. And then the third bonus question was how many threes will Sonny Weems make? And David and I said 0, and Charlie said 1, but the answer was 0. Wow. So,
woo!
So
I got
each got a point there.
1.
So the final score after the Houston game was me with 20, Charlie with 0 still, and David with 1. So we've got a tight race here.
Wait, did you say 20?
All within 2 points.
20?
Oh, did I say 20?
Yeah.
Oh, 2.
Get that out of
2.
here.
You're trying to put one over on us.
Sorry, 2.
You got to be a little
Jeez.
sneakier than that.
I think it's just because what I have written here is 201, and so I guess I read 20 and then 1. 2. Sorry.
I'm going to start keeping score now too.
Okay, yeah, I'm rigging it. No, 2 to 0 to 1. Jeez.
Come back.
Skunked.
Okay, and then the Jazz game. That was yesterday, Saturday, February 6th. Yes. And David, that was one that you did too. So what do you think about that one?
Yeah, I almost right away regretted wanting to do this game, but no, it wasn't it wasn't a terrible game, but you could tell from the get-go that this was going to be it was going to be a loss. The Jazz started out really hot. They scored 10 straight points before the Suns were even able to score. They were looking really well on the offensive end. We couldn't stop them there, and their defense was as good as advertised. And I mean, it was rough. There were a couple of bright spots in the game, I thought, which were, hold on one second. They were Devin Booker, of course. He was pretty efficient. He was 6 of 14 with 2 of 5 from deep. He scored 18 points. He also went 4 for 4 from the free throw line. I think he has a good chance of being able to get more to the free throw line every once in a while, but I mean, you can't complain too much. He's still learning. And the efficiency was really big there. Mirza, of course, he had 15 on 5 of 9 shooting, and it was 3 of 5 from 3-point line. He continues to be the sharpshooter, and he's similar to, we end up using him in a similar role as when we had Channing Frye. I almost said Channing Tatum for whatever reason, but when we had Channing Tatum on as the 4, but when we had Frye there, he was really just spacing it out. But Teletovic is willing to put it on the floor as well, which he can't necessarily finish all the time or get the right look, but at least he's not letting himself just be one-dimensional. And the last big takeaway from the game was turnovers, which has been such a big thing. 10 turnovers in a game. That's all we had.
I said that in one of our earlier podcasts. I would love to see a game with 10 or less turnovers, and we only had 10. Oh, it was amazing.
There it was.
Yeah, I know. So the 10 turnovers were fantastic that we only had 10. It looked like we were going to have a lot more at first, but the Suns were really able to start playing a little better and taking care of the ball. So it was really nice that we were able to keep it down to 10. So those are my big highlights and takeaways from it. The game was out of hand from the very beginning, and even though it was 98-89, it never felt that close.
Yeah, you're right. So, one sentence recaps. Do you want to start, Charlie?
Sure. And continuing with turnovers, the Suns took great care of the ball, only turning the ball over 10 times, lowering the team's average turnovers to a despicable 17 per game this month.
So, for mine, I need to have a little bit of background information. We signed another D-League player, Orlando Johnson. So that's all you need to know for this recap. The Phoenix Suns, a.k.a. the D-League All-Star team, only turned the ball over 10 times. Woo!
D-League
real quick,
select.
Also, Markieff, I didn't put him in my highlights or any of that kind of stuff, even though he scored 17 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, steal and 2 blocks. He may have done that, but his efficiency was awful. So that's the reason why he wasn't on my highlights. If anyone out there is wondering, hey, he scored. It wasn't good scoring.
No.
I think he was 6 of 20
Ugh.
or something like that. It was really bad. It was really, really, really bad. So that's why he's not in highlights, if anyone's wondering.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see. The results of our challenge here. The 2-pointer. Which Sun will have the most points? None of us said Booker, and we said we should just quit doing this because of that. And of course, it was Devin Booker who had the most points. Or he was the Sun with the most points. So I said Archie, Charlie said Mirza, and David also said Archie. The answer was Booker. Bonus 1. How many offensive rebounds will the Suns have? I said 11, Charlie said 8, and David said 9. Optimism won. The answer was 12, so I was closest.
Ooh.
1 point for me. So I need to be optimistic on these, because all the ones that I was pessimistic on, I didn't win. And then the second bonus, who will have the most turnovers on either team? Let's see. David and I said Alex Len, and Charlie said Brandon Knight, even from the bench. The answer was Archie, who had 4. But again, we were all happy with the lack of turnovers. And then, how many blocks will Alex Len have? We all said 2, and the answer was 1. And since we were doing Price is Right rules, no one got that. The final score, after the Jazz game, I have 3 points. Not 20, not 30, but 3. Charlie, still with the goose egg. And David has 1. Still pretty close, though. Still close.
We're playing golf rules, right? So that means Charlie won, and I'm still in second place. So never mind. We're not doing that.
Either that or Charlie hasn't started yet.
Oh, that could work too.
Yet to hit the tee.
Okay, moving on to previews. We only have 2 games to preview because of the All-Star break. And really quick, we should mention that our boy, Devin Booker, is in the 3-point shooting contest. That'll be fun. I don't know.
He got snubbed from Rising Star, but he made it into the 3-point, so there's that.
Yeah, I think it will be fun to watch him. I don't think he'll win because Steph Curry is also in the 3-point shooting contest, but it will still be fun.
You know, Eddie Johnson was talking about that on one of these broadcasts and said he has nothing to lose. So I think Steph might have a little bit of he has a lot of hype going in, and maybe he's a little nervous about defending his title.
Maybe.
To be honest, I'm really hoping Chris Bosh wins. So
that
would be
I would
awesome.
not be mad at that. The 6'11" guy, not named Dirk.
Yeah. I think it will be fun though. I heard they were just watching NBA TV or something like that. They were having a discussion. What are you more excited for, the 3-point shooting contest or the dunk contest? I'm interested to see what you guys say about that. I usually like the dunk contest more. I think dunks are fun. 3-point shots they're cool, but I usually like dunks more. But this year I'm more excited for the 3-point shooting contest because Devin Booker's in it, and the dunk contest this year has 2 guys who are almost 7 feet tall, so that's not quite as impressive. But which one are you guys looking most forward to?
Who's all in the dunk contest?
It's Zach LaVine is defending his title, so that will be exciting. And then there's Will Barton, Andre Drummond, I think, is in it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another big guy.
So from that, I'll just go ahead.
Aaron Gordon.
Oh, that might change my mind a little bit.
For.
I was just going to say definitely 3-pointer, but then you said Aaron Gordon, and that might change my mind a little bit. That dude is an explosive athlete. He's 6'9", I think. So he's not too tall to be doing the dunk contest. So, man, I'm up for grabs now that I know Gordon's in it.
Yeah. Oh, so I guess Andre Drummond is the only really big guy in it. For some reason, I thought there was someone else who was bigger.
Big guys do have a history in the dunk contest. There are some of them that can do really well. What was it? JaVale had that one where he did 3 at one time, and he did 2 dunks on 2 basketball hoops at the same time. And
yeah,
I mean, Dwight had all those great dunks. So I'm looking forward to the Zach LaVine dunk exhibition because I think he'll actually have to do more than 1 dunk to win this time. So because last year all he really needed was the Toon Squad dunk. So
yeah.
I think that we might be able to see a couple more than just that. And I honestly think that the 3-point competition, the participants were better last year.
Yeah, that could be true.
Because we had Kyle Korver in it, we had Clay and Steph. I'm starting to blank on who all was in it, but I remember that someone scored like 23 points or something and didn't even make it to the final three. Like, it was ridiculous, the three-point contest last year.
Yeah, there was definitely good competition in that. And then if you compare that to the dunk contest, where maybe the best dunkers, well, some of the best dunkers in our game don't even want to do that anymore. So
Right.
that's one thing that drags me down about the dunk contest a little bit.
Yes. The other thing that I'm looking forward to is the skills challenge with the big guys doing all of that. There's Anthony Davis, Karl Anthony Towns, DeMarcus Cousins, and even Draymond Green. I think that's going to be really cool to see. Seeing
That's
like,
going to be a lot of fun.
yeah, someone like Towns and Isaiah Thomas doing the same skills, like that's going to be a lot of fun, I think.
Good thing it's not the 90s with all those lumbering big men. These guys can actually
couldn't
move
pass.
now. So
Yeah.
I am looking forward to the skills competition because most of the time it seems like the guys really don't care about it, and I think some of the big guys doing it they're going to kind of want to win, I think.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it will be fun. But we will have more All-Star stuff next week because we will be recording during All-Star weekend. So let's move on to our previews here. The first one we have is versus the Thunder on Monday, February 8th. So that's tomorrow from when we're recording. I'm covering that game. I watched quite a bit of the Thunder versus Warriors game last night, and the Thunder really hung with the Warriors. It wasn't until the very end that the Warriors pulled away. I mean, they had a pretty big lead, like 20 points or something, but the Thunder came back and tied it up, but then the Warriors just ran away because of their great three-point shooting. The Warriors are... Oh, sorry, the Thunder. We're talking about the Thunder. The Warriors is on Wednesday. The Thunder are a really good team. Kevin Durant is awesome. I actually really like watching Kevin Durant. He is an all-around great player. Great athleticism, can really shoot. He's a lot of fun. I think that we could have some trouble down low with Steven Adams, who was voted the dirtiest player in the NBA. But he looked decent in the game against the Warriors. And then Dion Waiters, he's starting to come on a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. It'll be a tough one. The Thunder are really good, a lot better than people thought. Russell Westbrook is having an awesome year. Bunch of triple doubles again this season. He's really tough to stop.
Historically great. Even though Curry is having such a great season, Russell Westbrook is having almost just as good of a historically great season right now. What he's doing right is ridiculous.
Yeah, it sure is. And his rebounding has been really good lately. And he's a point guard. It's going to be a tough defensive matchup because, you know, you put PJ on the team's best player, but who do you put PJ on? Kevin Durant, his old teammate? Or do you put him on Westbrook or switch it up a little bit? So I don't know how we're going to match up against them on defense. It's going to be tough. That's about all I have for that one. I have David picking a key to that game. So what do you think?
I think the key is going to be how we can play against the Thunder's other guys. Kevin Durant and Russell are going to get theirs. There's not going to be a whole lot of stopping them. There's going to be trying to slow them down. And the Thunder are the most dominant when their other guys play good as well. So that's Adams, that's Cantor, that's Waiters, that's Cameron Payne right now off the bench. There's all those guys that are the role players, the non-stars, are gonna, if they can step up, then we're gonna have to, or not if they can step up, but if we can step up to play good against them, we have a shot.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. And then Charlie, who's your player to watch?
Okay, I'm going to go kind of the opposite of what David just said and say it's got to be Kevin Durant. Because right now, PJ Tucker looks like the only guy on our roster that could match up against KD and maybe handle him a little bit. Outside of that, Sonny Weems, Devin Booker, do you want to put him on Durant or then Mirza or Markieff? That just sounds like a disaster. So
Yeah.
hopefully PJ is ready for another 40-plus minute game and he'll have his work cut out for him.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so our challenge here, which Sun will have the most points? I am going to say Devin Booker because I didn't say him for the Jazz game and I feel really bad. Charlie, who do you have on that?
Well, with our new system under Watson, I figured it'd be a good idea to go with Markieff.
Okay, and David?
You know, I'm personally going to go with Archie. Westbrook can play good defense, but sometimes he tries to gamble, and I think if Archie just plays like a wrecking ball for most of the game and kind of tries to play Westbrook's own game against him, I think that Archie will be able to score pretty well, and so I think I'm going to go with that. My number 2 option would have been Mirza, because I think Markieff matched up against Ibaka is not good, and I really don't like Booker matched up against Waiters, who can play some pretty good defense. So,
Okay, fair enough. Then bonus 1, which team will win the tip-off? I thought that might be a fun one. I'm going to say the Thunder.
I'll go Suns.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Thunder because I'm assuming Tyson's gonna be at the tip-off, and Steven Adams might Stone Cold Steve Austin him at tip-off, and it might be a little rough
I think a stunner might be a flagrant 2.
You never know.
Yeah, they might take a while to look at that one. Okay, next one. How many free throws will the Suns attempt? And I want to get rid of the Price is Right rules so that we can score more points. So whoever's closest, even if you go above, is fine. I am going to continue to be optimistic because it worked out well for me last time. And I'm going to say we get to the line 35 times. Or we attempt 35 shots.
That is optimistic.
That's
I
really
thought I was optimistic going with 28.
Okay.
Bring us back down to earth, David.
Yeah.
I was gonna say 17.
17.
17.
Okay.
That's what I'm gonna go with.
I think it was the Jazz game. We attempted 32 shots. 32 free throws in the Jazz game. That's what I'm basing mine off of. I believe that's right.
Well, the Thunder last night, I think, only had 2 fouls in the second half. So, or something. It was something really dumb. So I'm going to go with the Thunder don't really foul that much. That gets called.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay, I was wrong. We got to the line. We attempted 26 in the Jazz game. In one of those games, we shot 32. So I'm trying to be more optimistic. Okay, and then bonus 3. How many shots will Dion Waiters attempt? And I am not going to base my guess on anything, and I'm just going to pick a random number, and it's going to be 7.
I'll go 10.
I will go with... Oh, my goodness. I think I'm going to go 11. Just so that way, if he shoots more than that, then I can beat all of you guys.
Okay.
Because I didn't have up to actually check and see how much he averages.
You're playing the game.
Yeah.
The game within the game.
Well, while you check on that, Charlie, you are covering the game versus the Warriors on Wednesday the 10th, and that's our last game before the All-Star break. So what do you think about that?
Not a whole lot, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Just to throw a little comparison out, they are first in offensive efficiency. We are 27th. They are third in defensive efficiency. We are second to last. So Steph Curry averages 30 a game. Klay Thompson averages about 21 a game. And to match those two's scoring output, we have to combine the averages from our top 4 available players. So those two guys score as much as our 4 best right now. But since Bledsoe has been gone, that's a bit unfair, but I'm still going with it. But anyways, I'm excited to watch Archie try to hang with Steph. He has some nice size and nice athleticism that we can hopefully keep him down a little bit, would be my best hope. And then I'm also excited for the Booker on Thompson matchup. That should be fun to watch because of all the comparisons that are made between the two. So I'm excited to see who has the better game between those guys. And
Yeah.
the Warriors are just so good, and we're pretty bad. So that's it.
Yep. Yeah, and that leads into my key to the game. Stop the three-point shot. It's pretty much impossible. Basically, everyone on that team is a good three-point shooter, and Steph Curry is the best three-point shooter in the league right now. Pretty much. Maybe not the best percentage, but he takes a lot. He makes these miraculous shots that look like they have no chance, and then he makes them look easy. They're just too good. And it's hard to deny how amazing they are. We're witnessing a really, really good team. So you just have to kind of be in awe of them, really. Who's your player to watch, David?
I mean, I think I could try and come up with someone different, but I think the player to watch is Steph. He's just doing things that we haven't necessarily seen a whole lot of before. So I think saying Steph is just the easy one. He's shooting, he's high scoring, he's the leading scorer, he gets a lot of rebounds, gets a lot of assists, he is smart with the basketball, and he makes shots that you shouldn't be able to make.
Definitely. So let's see here. Which Sun will have the most points? Our two-pointer. I'm going to say Devin Booker. I'm sorry that I ever went against you before.
I'm going on the Booker train this game too.
Okay.
I do not like the matchup of Thompson on Booker. I barely like the matchup of Steph on Archie. But I think I'm going to go Archie, because I think that out of our starters, I think he has the best matchup. And, maybe he starts getting hot and then they switch it up and have Steph on Tucker and then Klay on Archie, or Klay on someone, and then Barnes on, maybe they mix that up. But for how the positional matchup is, I go Archie. And if I picked anyone else, it would probably be, I think Mirza could easily lead the game in scoring off the bench, but because I think backup power forward wise, I think that we have a little bit. Mirza can have a little bit of an advantage on that. So,
Okay. Fair enough. The first bonus question here. How many threes will Steph Curry miss? He shoots a lot, so he's bound to miss a few. I'm going to say 3.
I'm going to go with 5, but I think he's going to make a bunch. So
For sure.
I think I'm totally not cheating right now.
It's okay to look at the stats.
So he averages 4.9. His average attempts are 10.7. So he almost averages 6. So I think I'll go with 5 as well.
Okay. Next bonus, who will have the most steals? I think I'm going to say Steph on that one.
I'm going with Draymond Green because Markieff seems to be a little lazy with the ball once in a while, and Green will be all over him.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to copy Charlie again on this one, and
Okay.
I got to say Green as well. He's playing really well, and I think that, I mean, he's just, it's ridiculous. So
That's
I'm gonna go-
interesting strategy, copying the guy with 0 points.
Hey, it's a bold move, Cotton. We'll see how it works out.
Yeah. Okay, and our last bonus. How many assists will Devin Booker have? I'm going to continue my optimism. I'm going to say... Ugh. I'm going to say... let's keep it in the John Elway trend that I've been following today with 7.
7,
I'll go-
7.
I'll go 5.
5, okay.
I'm going to go less than that. And I'm going to say 3.
3. Okay. That is it for the questions.
There, I'm
for the
not
2
copying you.
And they're going to be tough, but that's okay. So instead of doing a player of the week, we thought it would be better to talk about this coaching change. So Jeff Hornacek was fired. Earl Watson steps in as his replacement, interim head coach. He went to UCLA, played there for 4 years. He bounced around in the league, played in Seattle, Memphis, Portland, to name a few. He is young. It looks like he's getting the guys to work a little harder. Markieff especially is playing well under him, whether that's a good thing or not. What do you guys think about him in general?
I think he'll be good for our young guys. I think he was just in the league. He was teammates with guys their age, he last played in 2014, so it's just 2 years ago. So I think he has that going for him. He'll really be able to relate to him. And I think from his interviews, the way he talks, I think he'll motivate anyone he talks to. He'll make anyone he talks to feel good about themselves and just have confidence in themselves. And I think that's what our guys could really use right now. So I think he's a good move for us for at least this season as the interim head coach.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree. I didn't agree with the Hornacek firing at all. I knew it was kind of going to happen. I think that he kind of got the short straw in that scenario. I think Watson, it was, as soon as I can put together a cohesive thought, or sentence, not really a thought. I have the thought, but listening to his press conference, I liked what he said about trying to remind guys that it's a family. Most of these guys see their teammates more than they see anyone else. So I think that's a big thing, is that you got to remember that just because you don't like someone doesn't mean that you're not going to have to work with them. And I mean, that's the big thing. This is a business, this is that, but you also have to treat it as these guys are almost like a family. And I really like that. And I think that in that case scenario, I think Watson's going to be good in trying to establish that atmosphere.
Yeah, I like what he said about being a family too. I thought that was really true. I wasn't crazy about the Hornacek firing either. I knew it was coming, but I don't know if it was done at the best time, really. Either way, it happened. Do you think Watson's going to stay as the head coach for a while? I know some people were speculating that he might get hired for next season, but there's other guys out there like David Blatt now and Tom Thibodeau. What do you guys think on that?
I don't know if it's quite Earl's time to be a head coach, but I think he's really close to it. He just seems so young, and maybe another year or two on an NBA bench would really benefit him. But I wouldn't put it past him to be a good coach right away. But I see the Suns probably looking for a more established coach this offseason. But, I could be wrong. Maybe we do keep Earl. I don't really have a strong opinion on that either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see the Suns trying to go for someone that will grow with the team. You're taking a step back right now. You're not necessarily trying to continue to push forward. I think that someone who can grow with a team would be best. Someone that can instill the framework of a system and all that. I'm not sure if Watson's that guy. If he is, great. I don't really have a strong opinion either way. No matter who we get, we're going to be getting someone that's willing to build up the team and build the framework and all of that. So,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm with you guys. I don't have a strong opinion. The rumor was that we might try to bring in Steve Nash. And by the way, today is Steve Nash's birthday. So happy birthday to Steve Nash. But I don't know what I think about bringing him in as the head coach. I don't know if he wants to do that or if he would be ready. Teams are kind of starting to do that, like Jason Kidd in Milwaukee. I see a lot of similarities between those two teams now that we have Watson, had one really good season and then just kind of went downhill. The Bucks have really not met their expectations this year, and now they both have young coaches, but they have young teams. They've made a couple questionable trades, both teams, so we'll see how it turns out for both of us, but I see a lot of similarities. But what do you guys think about bringing Steve Nash in?
I think that'd be a terrible PR stunt, all in all. I don't think... Who knows if Steve even really wants to be a head coach right now? Or if he's prepared to do that. I mean, sure, he's one of the great minds, great point guards to ever play the game, but that doesn't necessarily make him a coach. So,
right.
And I'm not saying that I definitely disagree with this statement, but I've heard it said before that hiring Hornacek was a PR stunt because of his time that he spent here and all that. So I don't think we'd fall for the same thing twice if you do want to call it a PR stunt.
I wouldn't mind bringing in Steve as an assistant. I don't know if he really is wanting to coach right now. I know that he is doing player development, I think it is, with the Warriors. That's kind of a good spot to be in if he wants to work up that way, but maybe he doesn't want to be a coach. Maybe he wants to be more front office-y. I'm not entirely sure. If he does become a coach, I could see it going in a lot of different ways, but I think that he would start out small. If we brought in someone like D'Antoni and maybe brought in Nash as an assistant to D'Antoni or something like that, I think that would be the best way to go in that scenario, but I'm not sure if just bringing in, or if you want to go that way, I think that not just bringing Steve Nash in just for the coach, just to be a head coach right away is the best move.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I think if Steve Nash wants to come and do something not head coaching, assistant coaching, or front office or whatever, I think that's great. I think that would be really helpful. But I don't think we should be pushing to get him in if he doesn't want to be doing that kind of stuff. So we'll see. And then, Charlie, you said you had a fun fact about Earl Watson. What's that?
Oh, I was kind of pulling for straws during this, but he was on the Sonics when they switched to the Thunder. So
Oh yeah.
he made the move with the team.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Anything else on Earl Watson before we start wrapping things up?
He's a bad selfie taker.
And he looks like the great Gazoo from the Jetsons. And I mean that
Yeah,
as affectionately as possible.
And if you don't know what Charlie's referring to, just Google the Great Gazoo and then Google Earl Watson. I knew who he was, but I hadn't paid that close attention to the shape of Earl Watson's head. But definitely Google the pictures together. It is very funny. Well, let's wrap things up here. 2 games before the All-Star break. Which one are you guys looking forward to the most? This is a tough one.
I think we'll hang with the Thunder a little better than the Warriors, so that might be a little more enjoyable for the fans to watch.
Yep.
Yeah, we definitely play against the Thunder a little bit better than the Warriors. And I don't know why that is, but the last however many years, we've always just played better against the Thunder. So, I mean, that's the one that I'm looking forward to. To be honest, I'm really looking forward to the All-Star break.
Yes, definitely.
I think
We
that's
all
the game I'm
need
looking
the
forward
All-Star
to.
break.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I'm looking forward to the Thunder game more because we've played them really tough this season so far, and the Warriors have just destroyed us, and I think that's going to happen again. So I'm looking forward to the Thunder game. And then we'll each plug something non-sports related. I have something a little more exciting than my space heater this week. So
Should we save that for last then?
I guess so. I mean, it's not that great, but sure.
All right, I'll go. I'll volunteer. The founder of the band Earth, Wind, and Fire, Maurice White, passed away last week. My dad was a huge Earth, Wind, and Fire fan, so that meant I listened to them a bunch when I was a kid growing up. And at one point, I'm pretty sure I was the only 8-year-old kid in South Dakota that had an Earth, Wind, and Fire cassette in my Sony Walkman. So I've always liked them, and that's my shout out. Rest in peace to Maurice White. And everybody should go listen to some Earth, Wind, and Fire.
For sure. Yeah, they were great. That was really too bad.
I think I am going to shout out another game, because that's really all I've been doing right now besides basketball and homework. So there is a Digimon game.
Oh,
that
man.
just came out. It's the 15th anniversary of Digimon, I think, is what it is. So there was a Japanese game that came out last year, and they decided to localize the text in it and release it in the US for PS4 and Vita, PlayStation Vita, and it's a pretty good turn-based JRPG. I mean, it's a JRPG, and it's pretty good, and I've been playing it a lot, so people should check it out and buy it, so that way we get more of those.
Man,
No comment.
I haven't.
Yeah.
I have not. I was into Digimon when I was like 7 years old.
Oh, burn.
I haven't even thought. I don't mean that as a burn. I'm just saying I haven't even thought about that in a really long time. So that's a nice little flashback.
To be honest, I didn't really think about it either for quite a while, for at least 10 years, but I saw the game on there and it was getting reviewed really, really well. And they were like, oh, it's just like the old PlayStation game. And I was like, oh, I'll try that. That was a fun game. So I've been trying it out. And I've put
Nice.
almost like 10 hours into it. And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's a good one. So my plug is also for a game, but it's a little bit different. It's just a phone game. It's on iOS, or I think it's on Android. I don't know about Windows Phone. But anyway, it's called Crossy Road, and it's just like Frogger, basically, but it's like updated with good graphics, and you can get all these coins and things like that, and then you buy new characters with your coins, and you can play as like a chicken, or there's like a new Brazil update, and you can play as like a bunch of exotic birds and things like that, and it's kind of fun. I use it to pass the time when I'm like waiting for something, and yeah, it's pretty fun. So Crossy Road, I've been playing it for a while, but it's free. Go download it. And that's it. So thank you for listening. Remember, we're on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Phoenix Suns Multiple Sources there. Follow us on Twitter, at SunnyInPHXPod. Email us with questions, thoughts, or suggestions, sunnyinphxpod@gmail.com. And then, of course, check out our website, multiplesources.net/Phoenix Suns, and the entire Multiple Sources blog and podcast network. Again, thank you for listening. We appreciate every listen that we get, and we're looking forward to watching the next couple of games. Feel free to talk with us in the time before we release another podcast, and we will be back next Monday. Go Suns!